If you can individually introduce yourself down the line, we'll start maybe with Martin. Just introduce who you are, what you do at your agency, and then we'll dig into the agency itself a little bit.
Yes, my name is Martin Beauséjour. I'm a creative director at LGD. LG2, it's been 3 years, and I'm on the national bank account for 6 years through 2 different agencies.
So my name is Arthur Rollet. I'm strategist in the team. I've been at LG2 for 6 years now, on national bank accounts for 3 years since the beginning. And so really happy to meet you and to talk to you about like this quite cool project that we did last year.
I am Stephanie. I'm a group account director and I'm a lead account on National Bank for the past 3 years. I think we're OG here. We've been here on the account since the beginning. I joined LG2 with National Bank. We dated each other before I joined, and I decided to join because of, I would say, National Bank and the way they positioned themselves. I think it was quite interesting. We will talk a little bit more about why, but I think on National Bank here at LG2, people that work on the account have been on the account for so many, I would say almost 3 years, all of us. And I think because we share all the same values and vision on the account, so it's always like a pleasure to do any campaign with National Bank.
Nice. Okay, so LG2, that sounds so much cooler than LG2.
You're right.
It sounds so hip hop, you know? Okay, tell me a little bit about LG2 and also where you are all sitting.
LG2. Well, the LG2 agency has been more than 25 years. We are an agency based in Quebec, but we do have an agency in Toronto and one in Quebec. We like to say that we are one of the big ones in Quebec, but we're a challenger in the rest of Canada. A bit like National Bank, I would say. And I think this is why I was saying, but I think why it was a nice partnership between each other, because we share the same vision and values. We are an agency where entrepreneurship is super key. We like leadership, and we position ourselves as a challenger in the rest of Canada, a little bit like National Bank does. And I think this is why it was a perfect fit. And they dare also, and we like to dare. And I think the investment case, but I like to call it the women campaign. I think it was one of the campaign where we were able to dare and to challenge each other with the client and to do differently. So, yeah.
Okay. And then if we expand the context a bit, the agency office that you're in is in Montreal, or where are you based?
Yes, in Montreal.
And what part of town?
We call it the Shoppingus.
Yes, Shoppingus is like a big pole of technology and, how can I say, co-responsibility, growth and building. And it's very aligned with our values at LG2.
But you're in the downtown?
No, it's not downtown.
No, it's not downtown. It's far from downtown.
Yeah, it's like an old working class neighborhood, trying to gentrify a little bit, and all the project. So we call to like Shoppingus was an old factories in Montreal. So we are on the east side of the city.
Okay.
And they try to revive the place, the neighborhood, and that was as well a choice from the agency to be here. So we're not at downtown. We're not really close to our clients, but we are really close where like people at the agencies are living. So we did surveys like several years ago to choose where we should put the agency, like not
the office. Yeah,
you did myself, of course, like the direction and the executive team of LG2, and so they decided to move here because there is as well like a social impact, like ID behind being here and like being actors in this community. But it's quite like in Toronto, like the distillery districts.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's the Chapangus. They were doing the locomotive and the trains in the 40 and 50 and during World War, and then they stop around maybe the 60s or 70s, and this whole neighborhood has been abandoned for many, many, many years. So it has been revived very well, very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fabulous.
It's a neighborhood with a lot of families and children and school, everything.
That's amazing. I mean, especially that, because to bring that culture into your work every day is quite amazing, to value community and the relationship that your work has in supporting communities, right?
Absolutely.
With also, what's the size, sorry, of the agency that you guys work with, LG2, in Montreal, in terms of how many people come into this office regularly?
In Montreal, we're 300 people.
Okay, wow.
But we don't come to work
Every
the 300 at the same time. But in total in Canada, I think we're 450, 100 people. 450, yeah. But in Montreal, 300 approximately.
Right on. Nice. Okay. And paint a little picture for me, because you're intimately familiar with this client. It's been 3+ years that you've all worked with them. So give me the lowdown, and for our audience who doesn't know the composure of the banking industry in Canada, because we do have a global audience, what is the significance of even the name of the bank, Banque Nationale?
Do you want me to try? Like, what is really interesting about National Bank is that the size of the country of Canada, like it's the sixth largest bank in the country, but it's among like the systemic bank. That's what we call like really big bank. That if something happened to this bank, like it could be problematic for the country or for the entire Canadian economy. But if you're looking at different market, like National Bank is really, really strong in Quebec. Like it's the second largest financial institution in Quebec. And in the rest of Canada, it's quite small. It's quite a challenger brand, challenger bank in the rest of Canada. Like, and we know that you have an expression in Toronto, for example, like you call the bank the Big Five. We really hope that at the end of this podcast and this meeting, you will use the expression Big Six.
I will already.
So please use a Big Six. That's what we try to do. But on a marketing side, on a advertising side, it's super exciting to work like with this challenger positioning, this challenger mindset, because that's what helps us do. Like we need to be like bolder, like we need to be different from the rest of the banking industry, what we call the bankland, because we don't have the same budget than a TD bank or a RBC bank that are the big leaders within the banking industry. So we have this opportunity as marketers to fully embrace this idea of being a challenger. And as you probably know, everyone really loves the idea of David against Goliath type of storytelling, and so we are allowed to play with this narrative when we're talking to the rest of Canada, to Canada in general with National Bank. So it's a really big bank in Quebec, but lots of room to play and to challenge and to do some different stuff at a national level.
And so now let's take a look at the relationship a little bit. So how did the agency, I know it's maybe before your times, but form the relationship with National Bank? Do you know where that came from? What's the legacy of the relationship?
For LG2, well, 3 years ago, I think to answer your question, I think the partnership.
Please, answer my question. Go ahead, answer my question.
No, but meaning, what I was trying to say is that it was a question of we picked each other, LG2 and National Bank. Martin was with the other agency. And I think National Bank wanted a change, and I think we were bringing that change at LG2, like I said previously, because we are sharing the same values and vision. And that was really key for the client. It was to work differently, and it was more to work in partnership and to making sure that we were sharing ideas. And I think this is what LG2 brought to the table, but National Bank also. And I have to say, I've been on this account for 3 years and I'm still passionate about it. I think we have amazing client with whom we work closely, and it's not even a client agency relationship. It's really a partnership. I know it's cliche to say, but it's kind of a big family, and we trust enough each other throughout the years that we can try and do anything and say anything. And I think this is what's wonderful about the relationship. And Martin maybe can talk a little bit more about it, because he was with the other agency and he came with us. He decided to pick LG2 and to, to follow, the client here. And I'm pretty sure this is one of the reasons why Martin decided to maybe switch.
Yeah, I cannot talk too much about the other
Other
agency, but I think the other agency and national banks were ready to part it off and go their own way. National Bank was looking also for a fresh start, but and National Bank asked me and LG2 it was possible for me to come here and still work with them. So I said yes.
That's a rare situation, isn't it?
Yes.
I know.
That's fantastic.
It's key for the client to make sure that the key people that were working on the account, it was a perfect fit. That's why I'm always saying we picked each other.
Yeah.
Because I think if ever the fit was not there, I think either or could have decided not to pursue, the relationship.
I think working for a bank looks sometimes complicated. I mean, finances and investing are sometimes very heavy subject with a lot of definition that you have to learn. But for me, I love when it's more complicated. So I really like working for National Bank and learning. I can say to you that after 6 years, I have better finances than 6 years ago. So I learned a lot, and I was very happy to continue our relationship collaboration coming here at LG2.
And so, National Bank is, I guess, is LG2 the agency of record? Like you handle everything to
Yes.
do with creative advertising, marketing solutions. Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, it's like we are really the 360 agency on the creative side, and so like strategic side, creative side, and we're working closely with like media agency like Omnicom Media Group, Adviso on the digital side. But yes, we are the agency of record, and we do everything for them, like from annual strategic planning, campaign execution, and like all the initiative. And we worked a lot also as well with all the team, like to reposition the bank a little bit and try to find new ways to communicate and agreed on a new positioning, a new way to communicate during these 3 years. And the campaign that we're going to talk about is part of this like shift that we want to make with them to be like more, assume a more challenger approach and be trying to be different, not doing only like traditional campaign, but more like initiative that's going to spread on
Out
more
of the
original,
box.
out of the box. That's what we're all trying to do, like be creative. That's our work, but like in that way, in this bank land, trying to be a bit different and try different stuff.
Okay, so let's talk about this campaign, and let's talk about, before we jump into what specifically it was, what were the apprehensions you were working within, or the the boundaries in thinking outside of the box? Is always a bigger box. So at what point are there like the soft edges of the box limiting your thinking, and then how did you get to this particular campaign? Just to lay it up a little bit, like. Or was it, like you said, you have carte blanche and it's kind of like, this sounds cool, let's do this. I think this is an issue we want to tackle, and just dig into it.
If I may, like trying to take a step back and try to explain like the origin of the campaign and what's happened.
Yeah.
Like since the beginning of our relationship with the National Bank, we agreed on one thing, like, and that's the DNA of National Bank. The core idea behind the bank brand is empowerment. Like everything that the brand wants to do to its clients is help them like better manage their finances, better manage money. And this idea of empowerment is really key. And when you have this responsibility as well, like to empower your clients, for sure, like in 2025, you can understand and see that there is one half of the population that has not the same right or the same. If I can restart, like in 2025, what you can see, like it's like one half of the population is not equal about money and finances, and it's women. Like still in 2025, women are not equal regarding money when it comes to finances and personal finances. And it's a really complex problem, but National Bank from several years trying to tackle this problem on a specific angle, which is like the investment gap. And the investment gap is the fact that women are not investing as much as men. Only 20% of people who invest money are actually women. And that's a huge problem for women, actually, because when you are not the one investing your money, you give the control to your money to someone else. And generally speaking, in the vast majority of cases, like an heterosexual couple, like there is a clear role distribution between the way to manage money and finances. Women are the one that want to, not that want to, but generally speaking, women are the one that are in charge to spend money and to manage day-to-day expenses in the couple. And on the other end, men are the one that take like long-term decisions regarding money, long-term strategic decision regarding investment, particularly.
The analysis of the data that leads to this, right? Is that coming from within bank, where they're saying, look, this is a part of our annual trend analysis, and we're seeing for like decades that there's a gender gap in who owns the accounts that are direct investing accounts?
Like the thing is, like that's a data that is well known within the industry, and like National Bank want to act on this problem since several years now, but they did it like more on niche initiatives in the past few years.
Okay.
They did like some more literacy, like a financial literacy program, articles on their blogs.
Thought leadership with women who are employee and president and directors inside National Bank. But last year we decided to do something more empowering, both.
Yeah, because we saw an opportunity. Like it was more something like the bank took on its side, like more niche initiatives. But discussing with the client about what we want to do, what problem we want to try to solve to empower people, we saw a really cool opportunity and really interesting opportunity to tackle this problem, and not being like in a niche initiatives, but to try to do something more bigger with a larger scale and to reach more women with this initiative. So it was like both like a discussion with the client. We say, okay, like we have something really interesting to work on with this specific problem, and they gave us the opportunity to think about it in a different way and try to find some creative solution to tackle this problem and try to have a positive impact about it.
But it was not a specific ask from the client. The client was open to our ideas, and like every years we had to launch an initiative for women's on March 8th, which is International Women's Day. So that was the ask. But clients was like, we are open to every idea you have. Let's go.
Okay, that's exciting. And so now, tell me about this campaign. What's it called, and what did you come up with?
Yeah, like so the campaign is called the Investment Issue, and yeah, the story behind it is quite, I hope, interesting. Like as we mentioned, like there is a problem in Canada that we call like the gender investment gap.
Yeah.
So women are investing less than men, and so as good marketers or good strategists, the first thing that we did was asking us why there is like a big difference between men and women when it comes to invest. And one of the first rhythm that we discover in researches, in study, was a problem of self-confidence. Like women feel less confident than men when it comes to manage finances and more specifically investment. But the reality is that women tend to under-evaluate themselves and to undermine themselves and to under-evaluate their skill set when men, and it's quite a common trait, I think like men tend to overestimate or over-evaluate themselves when it comes to finance.
Confident.
Yeah, like fake it until you make it.
Exactly.
And so, but that was quite interesting. Like we understood that, okay, there is like a self-confident problem, and we ask ourselves, okay, why women are less confident about money. And when we dig up into this problem, this specific area of self-confidence, we ask ourselves, okay, but how do you build confidence? And one way to build confidence is definitely like your family, your colleagues, and stuff like that. But we also discovered that a big part of the way we see the world, the way you see your place in the world is through pop culture and media. And media, actually, like studies prove that it's had a real and incredible impact of how you see the world. And so digging up into this question again, we have a haha moment when we discovered like, okay, money is supposed to be genderless, but the way we talked about money in the media and in pop culture is clearly gendered. And media and pop culture are spreading lots of outdated narratives around money and
For
gender.
example,
Excuse me?
such as
Like such as like one of the first idea that we have, and one of the first problem, outdated stereotypes that we wanted to tackle was in pop culture, and more specifically in TV shows and series.
Yes,
Like-
like Sex and the City, Confession of a Shopaholic, The Wolf of Wall Street is a man. So we start to brainstorm about this and say, hey, maybe we can rewrite or we can do some new poster. If I remember well, Sex and the City became what?
TSX and the city.
TSX and the city for the stock exchange in Toronto. So, and we want to do the wolf of Wall Street with women
So
who invest, cool women investing at the stock exchange.
the queens of the idea was the queens of King Street.
Yeah,
Like-
in Toronto. But yes, for copyright matter and budget. we we skip to another idea.
Yeah, but and so that's what we call like the gendered cultural narrative around money. And the thing is, like, it's always the same patterns, like from a really stereotypical way. Like money are women are the one that are spending the money like blindly. They don't really know how to manage money, and it's always the same structure. Like money is framed as a problem to control when it comes to money and women and finances. So they need to control their impulsive instinct of buying stuff. On the other way, like the narrative around men and money is always money is a way to empower people. Like, and they need to invest to understand like the stock markets, and it's a way to be more powerful. And so yes, in TV shows, series, we saw that it was the first idea, and yes, we presented it to the lawyer team, and it was a no-go.
Can I add? It's a perception. It's only a
I
perception.
know, yeah, we know that it's only a perception, but that was this culture. When we discovered that,
we say a lot the women, but it's most of women or
Yeah.
some women.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But when we discovered that, like, we saw an opportunity to change this narrative, like to change, like we didn't want just only to create an awareness campaign about the fact that women need to invest, but we really wanted to tackle this problem by changing the narrative, to rewriting like the story behind like women and finances. And so like in pop culture and movies, it was too complicated, but we continue our work, we did some research, and we find out that women magazine or magazine in general were as well like a real problematic issue when it comes to like spreading outdated narratives around money.
Okay.
Because
And I think also one of the reasons why also we wanted to change the narrative is that we were that women campaign. I call it the women campaign for many years. It was launching on March 8th, so Women's Day, and every company is always, taking it's the day of the year where all companies will have a voice for women, and we wanted to make sure that we were talking to women differently.
Yeah.
And we were not undermining them also. It was to like have an intelligent say on something,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
to bring them to a level where we can have a conversation. And I think this is one of the reason why I think when we started for the Thought Leadership Women campaign, we also decided to talk to women differently, just to be, equally having the same conversation or answering their question they were having.
Yeah, it sounds like rather than a top-down kind of talking at people, you wanted to engage people in a conversation.
Exactly.
Okay.
And maybe we can we look at some pieces that we sent to you, Cassie?
Absolutely. Let's pull a couple things up.
yeah,
Okay.
this image actually it's a perfect illustration of the thing that we try to change and the narrative that we wanted to change. Because on the left you can see like the title and rubrics of women's magazine. Like the main narrative is spend less, like try to save your money.
Right.
On the right.
So this is these are real magazine covers,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that was a haha moment for us when we thought that that's reality. Like we did some researches and it was exactly the same all around Canada, in Quebec, or in the rest of Canada outside Quebec. Like all the magazine had the same like stereotype view around money, but without knowing it, like like we discussed, and Martin, we're going to talk to about it later, but with like the publisher of the magazine, it wasn't like something that they were conscient aware of.
Yeah.
But that was a haha moment, because when we saw that, we saw an opportunity like to change the narrative within a medium that was problematic.
Right.
Like you probably know the sentence like medium is a message.
Sure, of course. Marshall McLuhan. Yeah, Marshall
McLuhan, like a Canadian. But like we thought about this aphorism, and it was right here. Like women's media were the perfect medium to change the narrative and to repair this outdated narrative that they shared.
Yeah.
But it was as well like the perfect medium to spread this new narrative, this positive narrative around women in finance, because they have like a huge readership in Canada.
Right.
So it was like the haha moment on the strategic side, and the creative team started working with this idea.
I just want to bring something more when we talk about women that are not investors. It's that sometimes it doesn't mean that they don't have money. Sometimes they have money on the side, but the money is in a saving account with no interest, with no revenue. So we are telling many women, you have to save on your budget, save on grocery. And what they do with their money, they are saving it. The money is sleeping in a saving account without generating revenue and interest.
Yeah, I mean, this is
for their future.
Right. So this leads into this kind of like education piece, right? Is the idea of like what is saving, what is making your money work for you, and why is that education either withheld or just not undertaken by XYZ, and we'll probably get into that. But the idea of kind of like starting to spread awareness about this in a refreshing way is the campaign's MO, right?
Yeah, it was education and just like having a positive approach to it, like just telling women like you're able to do it like as much as men can do it, to give them positive role models and a positive feeling about money, because all their life they have been told that it's not for you, like you're not the one in charge of investing your money, like rely on a male to do it. Like so it was both sides. Like yes, financial literacy, knowledges, education, but as well like just having a positive view, a positive conversation about money.
Yeah.
When it comes to women.
Should we look at some more stuff that we have, and then you can just kind of respond or explain to the assets as we go through them? Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So I can go maybe a little bit with the creative process and idea. Once we decide to go all the way with magazine, we identify 9 magazines across Canada, 7 in Quebec and 2 in the rest of Canada in English. And we said, oh, we want to change the narrative. How can we change the narrative around finance and women? And then somebody, I don't remember who, came about flipping the narrative. So we said, okay, if we want to flip the narrative, we have to flip the magazine. And then we start brainstorming about doing fake back cover on every magazine, but rewriting title and subject and writing article. So we said, okay, I think we have something. We talked with the media agency because the time was very sensitive, especially to buy 9 back cover of magazine. I think it was like January.
Yeah, it was very short.
And everything was supposed to be online and in print for March. So time was very sensitive. And then we got our 9 back cover. Then we say, okay, how can we show to the editorial team on every magazine that we are serious, that it's not just for publicity, that we want to change really how women's are told about finances and investment. So on top of that, we bought also article and pages inside print edition and online to also do financial content about finance.
Yeah, I think one important thing like that we wanted to achieve, like we didn't want to be like just sponsored content and just to buy it and like to be a one-off. Like so,
Igor, you can go back to the video.
Wait, actually, the idea was to have a real conversation with the editorial team within this magazine and try to change the narrative for a long term with them and let them embrace and we wanted to unite them behind a movement behind financial literacy.
And even we're saying we had a haha moment, but I think magazine also had a haha moment because they kind of realized that like you said, that they were talking to women about finances the same way for the past 30, 40 years. And I think they realized that there was something here where we can, change the narrative and flip the narrative and to do something different for women.
Right.
And I think all of them, and Martin can talk about it, but they all went like, oh my God, yes, absolutely. We want to be part of that change.
There was a switch when we secure all the pieces and the back cover, and we showed to each magazine what was our vision. They all came on board and they help us to achieve what we have in mind, because it's quite special for 9 magazines to say, hey, you will copy my cover, you will change my subject title, I will give you my font, my everything. But everybody was on board, and this is the point where the conversation starts.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible, though. The fact that, wait, what was your, when you started talking to the publishers and stuff, what was your timeline until March?
It was at the beginning of January. And
so you had
to unite them by the beginning of March.
So you had 2 months. You had 2 months to convince how many publishers?
9.
9.
9 separate publishers.
Yep.
Well,
or nine
they
editor.
are under two corporations.
Okay.
There was like two media companies.
But still, this is crazy. So, firstly, to secure the space. Secondly, to convince them that you wanted to tie ad space into editorial, and that it was on brand, and that potentially there's legs for this kind of reportage and storytelling in their publications beyond the initial campaign.
Yes.
Did that involve engaging National Bank as an advertising client of those publications in a long-term sense beyond the launch campaign?
For one of them, yeah.
For one of them, yes.
But
okay.
That's what is also interesting.
Yeah.
It's that it's not just a one-off. Like it's a real commitment for the bank, and we wanted like the publishers to take like a real commitment as well regarding this issue, and to start like changing for real the narrative. So we did like a long-term partnership with L as well in Quebec and L Canada, just to have like a different type of project, and we can talk about it later. But it's a long-lasting partnership.
Je me suis souvent fait dire d'économiser puis de faire attention à mes dépenses, mais pas assez d'investir, non.
J'avais pas réalisé qu'on nous parlait d'argent aussi différemment. Moi, ça m'intéresserait de lire plus d'articles sur les finances.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible though, because I think that the idea of so also wait, that piece was a shoot, right? Like they were actors that were coming in and taking the magazines. I ask that because did you also shoot supplemental content that is a little bit more verite to do with like real people picking up those magazines because they were on newsstands for real, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, what's the number?
6.7 million copies has been distributed across Canada. Yes, 10,000 points of sales.
6.7 million.
So yeah, people could actually
across Canada
like buy like the magazine and read about it.
Right.
But we encapsulate it in a video just to explain a little bit the idea and to create awareness among the initiative. But on the same time, all the publishers, all the magazines spread the message on their own platforms. They change also as well the cover on every like online version of the magazine. So, like we had the idea, and all the magazines spread it as well because they were really proud of the initiative as well, and they wanted to create this movement. So we did this piece to explain the idea that we use in social media, in online video, but we also did like other pieces of communication, like a real 360 campaign around this idea to increase discoverability of the different magazines and to link to the National Bank hubs regarding finances and women's finances.
I just want to answer your question. We went to actors because now I remember the magazine were not print when we had to shoot.
Okay.
So all the magazine in the video are made by production here at LG2.
Right. That's amazing.
Magazine on stand, and the direction was to have the back cover facing on March 8th.
Yeah.
And I did a little round to see if it was actually like the magazine were back covered. We were seeing it absolutely, and if not, I was like turning them.
Everywhere, like in convenience shop.
Yeah. And what you cannot see, it's that the creative team take the time to answer like every title to a same title associated with the same subject. Like
sure.
The real cover, it's travel into Peru. And on our side is how to put money on the side for traveling to Peru.
That's brilliant. Yeah, so you're contextualizing all of
Yeah.
the content by financial information.
Yes.
Yeah.
Super smart. Okay, so then this goes out March 8th. Obviously, earned media must have been crazy on this as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about outputs?
Yeah, and we prepared it as well. Like we have a 360 campaign with like creative pieces to link to the event and to the initiative. We did like influencers campaign as well. Like we wanted real women to put out this message and to spread the message within their community. So we really wanted to insert this message quite naturally in the Canadian woman's daily life. So that's why, like, that's, as you mentioned earlier, like a more of a grassroots type of media spend and initiatives that like a classic broadcast or awareness campaign. And thanks to that, and because like all the magazine just were involved and play with us, like their role, we reached like 4 out of 5 Canadian women aged between like 25 and 54.
Wow.
In Quebec and in GTA.
Wow.
So, like, it was quite impressive because women's magazine already have like an impressive reach. Like all of them, like the 9 of them, can reach like almost 1 out of 2 women in the country. And we added like some influencer marketing, like social media marketing, just to expand the reach of our initiative. And yes, almost 4 out of 5 women were reached. We also have like, so as we mentioned, we wanted to create awareness, but not only awareness, we wanted to engage women with the subject. And so we, like, all the pieces all together generated like more than 9 million engagement on 1 month. And the campaign duration was
March,
1 month.
April.
Yeah,
Yeah.
March or April. And like the visit on our like hub concerning women's finances like went through the roof as well. So that not just awareness, but people and women specifically engage with our content, and that show as well that if you find an interesting way to talk about finances and investment, like it's an interesting issue for the vast majority of us. Like we just need to find an interesting way to talk about it and insert it naturally into our daily life.
I have to talk about our 2 personalities that we put on the covers of the magazine. It was important for us to not put personalities or models or actresses, so we choose 2 content creator, financial content creator. We have Jessica Morehouse, she is very famous across Canada. She's based in Toronto. She has a financial website, a podcast. She's a best-selling author. So Jessica was our face for the rest of Canada, and for Quebec we have Cathy Marquis. Cathy Marquis is more like starting into being an investor, but she was very interested, and she has a very large community on social platform called Side Chicks Generation, and she talked with a lot of young modern women about career, ambition, family, sexuality, and of course money. So they were the 2 personalities that we put on every magazine, but also we did a lot of content online.
Keep telling me a little bit more about this kind of like the national bank also reception, and then that bottom line implication of what if you have data on like what this meant for how the bank received inquiries, new account formation, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So like in terms of reach and on a campaign standpoint, it was a real success, like to reach our target. In terms of brand equity measurement, it was as well like one of our main objective. Like National Bank wanted like that women consider National Bank as a bank, but they also wanted that National Bank to be seen as a a bank that is engaged for like
Gender
gender equity and women's rights. So when we did like a post campaign survey, like a brand equity survey, like these results were through the roof as
went
well.
from 32 to 74% in terms of perception.
So like really interesting in terms of perception about the bank. And as you ask, it was also a business opportunity for them. Like we wanted that women feel. Let me rephrase that. It's also like a real business success because lots of women open investment accounts thanks to this campaign during the period of the campaign. So the first step to invest money is to open like accounts to do so, like such as TFSA or to download the direct brokerage app. And so we increased by 31% the opening of investment accounts made by women.
Wow, that's phenomenal. That's a huge outcome.
Amazing.
Because that's how many accounts?
Yeah, it's like thousands of accounts. Like we cannot tell you the real figures, but like it's so many accounts. Like so many women that are being that are now able to invest and to take in charge their own money. So that's a real success business wide, and I think it's this campaign is a textbook example of how you can have a positive social impact. You can try to change things for the better, to create a more inclusive society, and having extremely good business results as well. Like sometimes you need to choose between like a CSR or business, and this campaign is a perfect example that you can do both actually if you're managing to do it well. So we are really proud of that.
There was also a lift on their website by 21%.
21% more female-driven traffic.
Yeah, and if I can add also in the ecosystem, the National Bank website, there's a lot of articles that was not specifically created for this campaign, but it's been created, and Martin knows a lot about it, but it was created in the past. And I think the intention was also to drive to those articles. So it was kind of a toolbox for some literacy. It's a hard word to say in English. To give women access to also, because there's a lot of information on the website that was very pertinent for women. So yeah.
They have over 300 written articles on their website. So for every women or clients from doing a budget to buying a company, everything is there.
Yeah. And something that we didn't say also, because in terms of the ecosystem, there was also at the branch level also, and an advisor level, we equipped them with toolkits or information so that women, when they were engaging with video or the magazine, if they were going to branches, the information was there. So it was a very, full ecosystem, A to Z experience also for the campaign.
And it's a campaign also that resonates a lot with women employees inside the bank.
Absolutely.
First to share everything.
Well, this is very interesting. Yeah, I mean, and to that end, I mean, given your the strength of your relationship with client and how integrated you work, I assume that there were different offices, not just the CMO's office, that interfaced with this campaign that you worked with. Like, I would assume people in culture or HR would be part of this, and other business units.
Absolutely. If I can say also, in terms of, we're talking gender equity, or even at National Bank, at the upper level management, there's a gender equity also. And it was interesting and super well received by everybody, because even upper management was sharing also the campaign. They were super proud of what we were doing. And I think this is why we had a lot of success, and we're still having a lot of success with this campaign. And you'll see more,
What's begun with like a small initiative, more like a CSR initiative, and like niche conferences, it's became something like way bigger, and everyone at the bank saw the opportunity and was really proud like to of this initiative. So like, for example, next year, like this women campaign and all the action behind this are going to be like bigger. We're going to have a bigger budget, and it's became like a real subject at the bank that they want to tackle, because there is still room to improve for sure. Like we did a little, we contribute to trying to tackle the
It sounds like a
investment gap.
yeah, it sounds like a massive, like the campaign turned into a massive push to initiate the embrace of this aspect of how they approach market and how they, like, you've opened up a whole channel or formulated the opening up of a channel for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we agree. Yeah.
But this also comes back to, and I don't need to hear about additional campaigns you have in your pipeline or that what you're specifically planning about for next year, because we'll have you back and you can tell us more about it.
Absolutely.
Sure.
We'll come back.
But but this also comes back to that issue of, when you were brainstorming this, you said, and you were planning on some media property development and maybe thinking of some rescripting TV show concepts and shooting that. I'm sure budgets are opening up now to be a bit more creative with those things.
Yeah, like maybe like in several years.
Yeah. But you're bringing a good point, because the first time we started, we had pretty much not a lot of budget. Not saying no budget, but not a lot. And to your point, because we're having so much success, I think the creative team and the strategic team also is like, we have bigger opportunities. And in terms of media also, the magazine or anything that we're doing, I think now we position ourselves in terms of having a voice for women in terms of finances. And so either instead of us going to them, sometimes it's them coming to us to see what will happen next year. So, yeah.
And hopefully, yes, you will see TSX and the CD on your screen.
Oh, nice. Yeah, absolutely. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
For sure.
For me, the good thing about this incredible project is that it will continue, that El Québec and El Canada has signed a contract that for the next 2 years, they will do micro magazine exclusively on finance with National Bank.
Amazing.
So for me, that is incredible.
No, but if I can add something, Martin is really a big part of everything that we've done with the investment issue in terms of the relationship with the magazine. We said it was a very short period, January until March. So I think the creative team here did an amazing job, not only just by creating the idea, but all the relationship also around it with the magazine, because it was a very fast pace for them just to like engaging and making sure everything was happening and no glitch happened. It was not an easy ride, but it was an amazing ride though.
Martin, it sounds like it was fun. Like this whole thing sounds like it was so much fun, this campaign.
It was a fun roller coaster.
Yeah. But what is funny is, in our day-to-day life as marketer, we often say that we're trying to tackle and to solve real human problem, and that's not always the case. Let's be honest. Like sometimes we just need to tell interesting stories in an interesting way to talk about product. In that case, we really had the feeling that yes, we're trying to tackle a real human problem, to find creative way to do it and to have a real impact. So that's really cool.
Nice.
And may add something more, maybe a bit political, but something that we are really proud of is the way like this whole ecosystem and the whole idea rely on local media and local media ecosystem. Like in a period of time where like it's really complicated for local media to exist and to compete with GAFAM like Google, Meta, and all this Silicon Valley platform.
Yeah.
Like we are really proud like that you have created something where we created and we change a narrative, a cultural narrative, a Canadian cultural narrative, thanks to local media.
Right.
And we think that we all have the responsibility as marketers in Canada, as advertisers, to continue to create, to tell stories with local media, because that's how we can really shape like our own cultural narrative, have a positive impact in our society. So we're really proud of that, and it worked. Actually, it worked to tell stories with local media. You don't have to realize. So yes, we use a bit meta to spread the message, but at the heart of this whole ecosystem were local media, and so we are really proud of that.